Okay, I'm gonna pull out my magic mirror so I can see everybody. This is Randy Baxter. I'm the president of Asset Positioning Services, and I'm sorry I've been away for a couple of weeks, but I understand there were some really good shows with Jeff Mills and Courtney Scholar that worked with you on DeedWorks, and I hope that was something that was important to you. We got a lot of feedback on it, and then I've got some good things to tell you about uh, on the workshops coming up next week. I think we're going to be able to finance those for you if you want to. So we'll be talking about that. If you're really wanting to get into the workshop but just can't swing the $3,500, we may have the answer for you. But that's not today. Today I'm going to try to get back into the swing of things, and I want to tell you why I came up with the topic today. I had one of the best conversations with uh, a young lady out in Irvine, California, Kim Trail. And Kim, I don't know if you're on here or not, but if you are, uh, uh, our conversation was really important because I realized I had run into a business person who already had a successful business, already had what she could have a 40-hour week at any time she wanted it. And at the same time, Kim is wanting to add estate planning to her total product and service portfolio mix. And and while I was gone, we had 27 people at the boot camp, and then there were 165, I think, or 100 something people at the Simplicity meeting. Uh, and then I wound up working with several agents down in Arizona. Picked up Steve Baker. I don't know if you're online here or not, but we got a new licensee down there, and talked to Joe Dyer and Jennifer Hall and Kim and ran into lots of Kims out there in California. Uh, and then I went to visit my friend up in Sacramento, who's a Vietnam veteran, and we had a great time. We went to Joe's Shrimp Shack, which was fun to do. But anyway, I thought hard about my conversation with Kim because I realized that this is a someone who was very serious about adding uh, a new something else to sell to her clients and those kind of things. So I had talked to her about it, and I sent her an email what I was thinking about doing. And I just want you to know that the topic today is adding estate planning to your product and service portfolio. Now, um, this is sort of geared toward people who already have a built business, but it also works for those of you who are just now building your business. So, but if you have an established uh, practice, what I'm about to show you is a way to add the estate planning. So anyway, and you've seen this screen before, but I just want you to, if you're going to say I'm going to add estate planning, you ought to define it. That's just this sixth grade teacher in me. I like my vocabulary words. The term estate planning refers to the facilitation and ultimately the preparation of tasks that serve to manage an individual's financial situation in the event of their incapacitation or death. The planning includes the bequest of assets to heirs and the settlement of estate taxes and debts, along with other considerations like the guardianships of minors and pets. Well, I think most of y'all know this. My best friend passed away on Mother's Day, and we really worked hard to get his estate plan set. Um, he had lost his only son, who was murdered about 5 or 6 years ago, and he wanted to take care of his wife, and his wife wanted to take care of him, but they have quite a bit of wealth built up, and if something happens to John's wife, Judy, the nieces and nephews are going to be the beneficiaries. So if you just look at this paragraph right here, you can see how important it is. Um, just cases I've worked on this week. My friend in Arizona that needs to go into assisted living. Uh, they got their documents out that we set up a couple years ago, and everybody read them, and they saw, okay, who's in charge, and because she didn't want to go to assisted living, one of them said, "Can I make her go? Can this document allow me to make her go to assisted living?" And I said, "No, she hasn't been declared incompetent." and her two doctors have not agreed that she can't be making decisions. If I were you, if you want to stay in the estate plan in the will, you'd leave her alone and let her make her own call. Okay. But again, these are conversations that you're going to have with people. And to be honest with you, if you have those conversations, you become a family member. I feel like I'm a family member of maybe 200 or 300 different families here across the United States because when they have really, really big issues, I usually get a phone call or an email and they want me to help them participate or guide them through the decision process. That's what this is all about. You know, but anytime you have that conversation with people, I'm going to promise you something. If you're selecting your suspects correctly and you're having these conversations with people, there's going to be a whole bunch of zeros at the end of their bank account number. And they're going to fall in love with you, they're going to like you, they're going to trust you. And when they have a relationship change or an asset change or a health change and money starts moving, you're going to be involved and they're going to ask you for help. I don't care to tell you right now on my kitchen table in there, since I came home, I got home Friday. What's today? Tuesday. There's a check for $400,000 on my table. There's a check for $20,000 on my table. There's a check for $10,000 on my table, and there's some transfer work for about $400,000 to $500,000. Okay, so you can do that too if you want to. So anyway, let me just ask you a question because I did this at the boot camp. Why are you here? What are you doing here? So, are you serious about adding estate planning to your product and service portfolio? If you are, welcome. If you're not convinced, well, you don't want to be convinced, and that's okay too. But I'm going to show you a picture of a dog here I like, but in a minute. But I'm going to tell you all about my experience with the types of planners who ask to work with me. Now, I phrased that just exactly the way I wanted to phrase it, because I have to make the assumption that you're asking for me to share what I know and what I do. I don't mind doing that. I want to do that. And this industry has been very good to me. Uh, but I think it's one of the reasons it's been very good to me is I try to be very good to the participants in this industry. And if somebody needs something, I try to help them get it. Sometimes I'm slow, sometimes I'm swamped, but it, if people will open up and talk to you, you'll be able to guide them. And they want to be guided. They want your advice. So I wondered, what kinds of people are asking me for help? Well, uh, so I'm going to turn that around and say, what type of estate planner will you be, or do you want to be? Okay, so and I want to lead you back to that definition I sent you to a minute ago. But I get established life insurance agents. I get some established life insurance agents that throw it up to me. Hey, we don't belong in the estate planning market, and I'm going to look at them and go, "What are you talking about?" I have established agents that come up to me and say, we don't belong in the estate planning world. And I just want to take my hand, put it up against my forehead and go, what are you thinking? Because you have to know the things that are important in an estate plan to be in this business. So some of when you say, oh, somebody said something bad to me, it scared me away. I'm gonna look at you. I'm just gonna go, well, you're just a scaredy cat. But anyway, I get real estate agents, and bankers, almost any financial services provider looking to add a new product and service to their existing book of business. The natural step is estate planning. So I get agents, and you've seen this screen before, but I get agents looking to break out of the product mode. I get so many agents that are so quick to go to IUL, 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 that they become product salespeople. So anyway, Medicare final expense. I got a new licensee down in Arizona who was working in the final expense market, and you know I don't know what people make in final expense. They might make $500 or $600. I think they have high lapse rates. They don't have any loyalty if somebody comes in and offers somebody a lower price. Um, I just couldn't live that life. I don't think so. So, and there's captive agents. I had an agent that had to take her license away from her because her company wouldn't let her be in the estate planning world. But that would tell me that I hope she is attending today, because you should call me and let's make an association where I can help you with the estate planning and you can provide the products. So anyway, I get other rainmakers. If you don't know what a rainmaker is, it's a person who generates leads and generates business for people. I get PNC agents, agents looking for a market to enter, and I got relocating agents. If you move into a new town and don't know uh, anybody, you have a workshop about estate planning, and you are automatically looked at as an expert in estate planning. They don't care where you're from. So people say, "Oh, I can't do anything because I'm new here in town." Don't believe that. So people contact me for estate planning if they're looking to be trained and they're looking to be coached, and those are two different things. Training, I need to teach you the fundamentals, the basics of what's going on. And then once you get those things done, then I can coach you into the process. And what I'm going to be showing you here today in a few minutes is the coaching. And I'm going to assume that here in a few minutes, you don't need to be trained, but you might want to be coached. And I hope you really see the difference here in a minute. But and then I get approached by a lot of agents who have experienced poor training from their current IMO and their current FMO. And I'll be honest with you, that's not rare at all, because they can't train what they don't know, and they certainly can't train what they don't do. And that's why I think what I do is distinctive. And we're going to get to that here in just a minute. But so anyway, there's that dog I was telling you about. Uh, Sometimes I run into people who say, train me, train me, train me, coach me, coach me, coach me, and then they never launch. They never get off the path. They remind me of this dog this real hungry dog. He's just wanting that hamburger so bad, and look at his tail. He's happy, but he just can't force himself to get up and grab that burger. It might be because somebody scolded him at one time or told him he doesn't belong there. He wants it. All I can tell you is, if I was that dog's owner, I'd say, go get it, boy. I mean, that's your hamburger. You grab it. But anyway, so I can help those agents solve that dilemma if they're trainable and coachable. If you're listening and you're not trainable and you're not coachable, enjoy the show. But I do get some who've never launched, even when offered the perfect sales and marketing system. You know, I've got an agent who really got a slow start last year, and I just said, look, you need to get your head on right and come back. And he came back, and his head's on right, and he's ready to go. He's ready to recruit. And he's ready to sell. He's ready to help people make sales. You know, but sometimes you just got to get people out of that bad mindset. Sometimes it's a lack of confidence. Sometimes it's a persistent habit or a choice to stay where they are. And even if you're one of those people that I'm showing you here on this screen, what I am about to show you will break you out of that mindset if you want to. So anyway, uh, uh, and again, those of you who met with me out west in the past couple of weeks, I want to thank you so much, because you had such an impact on me as far as helping me learn what I need to teach everybody. So let's do this. What does it mean to add or integrate estate planning into your marketing mix? And if you've got an established business, a Medicare, especially a Medicare business or a final expense business, or maybe an assets under management where you got oodles of money laying around there, you have to understand what a marketing mix is. So I thought, okay, we need another vocabulary thing, another definition. The marketing mix that you own right now, that you are probably or not probably doing, I don't know. It's a set of controllable elements or variables that a company uses to influence and meet the needs of its target customers in the most effective and efficient way possible. And you have to mix it. So I do one-on-one conversations all the time. I might be doing on the phone. I might be doing it by email, or it might be a text, or it might be some other kind of communication. Um, but I also like to do one to many, which is the seminars and the webinars and things like that, because I'm a little bit of a ham. I like to get in front of people and talk. Okay. But at the same time, to add to that marketing mix, there's certain things I have to do every day, certain behaviors that have to be done, certain expenses that have to be incurred. And you can't ignore them. So, so I want to discuss the opportunities of entering financial services and or adding estate planning to your product or services portfolio. Yours, right now, yours, not mine. Mine's doing pretty good. So I just want to ask you a question. Are you aware of the opportunity cost of entering or not entering the estate planning markets? Oh, I told you there was $400,000 check in there on my table. There's also a $400,000 wire order. And people came into the office and they said, "We missed you. We want to talk. Uh, you've helped us so much that we're ready to make some decisions." So, so if you're not having these conversations, then you don't have those opportunities for people to come in and lay checks down with lots of zeros on them. So, and you have to make a couple assumptions, and you already know what these assumptions are. This market is wide open. About 5 out of 10 adults will have no plan at all and depend on the probate court to settle their estate. Well, you might not even want those people. But there's more to it than that. And this is where the coaching centers come in. Your marketing mix includes your existing clients. And those are people who already know you, like you, trust you. And they know more people than you know. If you took a group of 25 of your clients, they're probably going to know maybe 2,000 people or more. All you have to do is talk to them. But here's the question. Look at these fish. I love fish. Fish are fun to. I got a fish pond in my backyard. They're all goldfish, but they're fun to watch. The uh, the estate planning pond is full, and the inhabitants are hungry. So if you ever walk up to me and say, "I don't have anybody to talk to," there's no telling what I'll say. But you don't talk to people, you talk with them about a certain topic, and you tell them that you'd like to talk to them about a certain topic, and they'll talk to you about that topic. Conversations should be easy in the estate planning world. So plus, an existing estate plan it's just an empty shell if it's not properly implemented with proper funding practices. So the next time you hear some attorney or some uh, silly life insurance agent tell you don't belong in the estate planning market, you look at them and go, "Well, maybe you don't, but I do." Because I'm going to talk to people who might benefit from a conversation with me. And if they have that conversation with me, they're probably going to learn something in which they were not aware. And they're going to walk out of there better for it. So, so it's best to have a plan to add estate planning. That should be your planning to your YOUR. I'm sorry, it was 4 o'clock this morning. Missed that word. It's best to have a plan to add estate planning to your product and service portfolio because you never know what you're going to get. And, that's what I was trying to tell you on my emails while I was traveling out west. You might get a lady who's ready to go into assisted living physically, but not ready to go emotionally, who has enough money to pay for it, but just doesn't want to reposition her assets. You may get you may get a grandmother who's decided that one of her grandchildren, one of her children had done something in her past that she just cannot accept, that she wants to, but she wanted to rearrange it, and she said, I want her to inherit money, but there's certain assets that I want to give to my other children who never broke my heart that way. And then you might run into what I call a May November romance. I accused the guy robbing the cradle, um, and I did it. I hoped he laughed. He didn't laugh there for a minute because he didn't know what he was talking about. But his wife began laughing because she was about 15 years younger than him. But the question is, hey, you're 15 years older than your wife. Where's she going to be if you're 72 now and you're 87 and she's uh, 57? She's as old as you are now. Have you planned for that eventuality? And it's almost positive that the one who's 15 years old is probably going to die first. And is that life properly funded? Have you had that conversation with your clients who are cradle robbers? You probably know a few. It's okay. A cradle robber's probably happy. But anyway, you know, you might just enjoy the variety and diversification of what you might find. My life is exciting because I never know who, I might be dealing with somebody with cancer today, or I might be dealing with somebody going through a divorce, or I might be dealing with somebody who's fixing to get married, who just lost an uncle, whatever. And see, people want to talk about those things. So if you interview any 10 people, 5 will say they have no estate plan, but they do. It's called probate court. The other 5 will either have a will or trust, and they will be, in most cases, be unfamiliar with the contents, and most are improperly funded. So people tell me, oh, they told me I already had a trust. And I said, well, they're better salesmen than you, right? They sold you on the fact that they're not going to talk to you instead of you selling them on the fact that they might learn something that they were not aware of in their current plan. And they convinced you not to pursue it. I love to pursue stuff like that. So what are they going to do? Tell me no? Oh no. But so I'm just going to ask you the question right now. Do you guys that have got established businesses right now, who does the estate planning for your clients? Is it even happening at all? Are your clients qualified suspects? You know, so what I'm about to show you, and I know y'all can say, "What? Show us." I'm about to show you the roadmap to add estate planning to your product and service portfolio over the next few weeks. And if you've got a pencil and a piece of paper, you ought to grab it, or you can watch this video again if you want to. But when people give me directions, I like to write them down. And then the directions would say turn left at the tractor, and that way if you get to the tractor, you don't wonder which way you should turn. So if you use the proper approach, you're actually volunteering to be of service to others who are in need. And I'm promising you, people are in need of this conversation, and it's worth several $1,000s a day to you if you want it. So you may make them aware of things of which they weren't aware. And there are certain steps you can take to become the person you say you may want to be. And I asked you a few minutes ago, why are you here? What are you doing here? So, all you need to do is identify a person who may benefit from a conversation with you about their current estate plan and be brave enough to approach them. Take a deep breath and go, wow, I do need to talk to that person. I don't want to do it in a way where they would tell me no. I know they would benefit from the conversation with me. So all I have to do is convince them that if they had that conversation, they might learn something in which they were not aware. That's it. That's going to open the door to life insurance, to disability insurance, to health insurance, to IRAs, to long-term care planning, to uh, PNC business. So, so like I said, you can do it one-on-one with people who have done business with you in the past, and that's what I was thinking when I spoke with Kim and Irvine. Um, if you already have a lot of people that have done business with you in the past, all you got to do is mention that you've got something else that you can share with them. They're going to say, "What is it? Let's talk." But you can do the same thing for people who have not done business with you in the past. So, so, um, and you can also do one to many. Uh, I heard last week that somebody said that they were uncomfortable talking in front of people, and I wanted to say, you know, you're pleasant to look at, you're nice, you're bold enough to invite them to a conversation. They are going to want to hear what you have to say. Go say it. So, one to many, and you can use systematic action that we've talked about before, or workshops or seminars. I like the workshop. I like the 1 hour workshop. You can spend $3,500 and get 120 people in 4 workshops. That's 30 people, maybe 20 to 30 in each one. 25% of them are not going to show up, and they're going to be open to your phone call when you call them and say, "Hey, I'm sorry you couldn't make it. Can we get together? I think you might benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan." And if the very minimum is that you might learn something you were not aware of. So a true estate planning hero will accept and recognize the potential risk of rejection or sacrifice made with the proper approach. It will be minimal. How can they say no to, "I think you would benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan? And when you do, I think you might learn something in which you were not aware." So the question is, are you capable of taking that risk? I think you are. And I will tell you, no, the third no doesn't hurt half as bad as the first one. But anyway, estate planning prospects want to think and expect these traits from the person they choose to lead them through this process. This is how you do it. I know you're going, "No, you're really not going to tell us." You're going to go on and on and on. This is how you do it. Over a few short weeks, I'm going to show you how, in a few short weeks, you become the person your clients are looking for. I'm going to teach you how to do that here in just a minute. I hope you want to learn. I got up early, took me 3 cups of coffee to write this early this morning. Some wasn't even up. But you can achieve this status by following the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview. You've got the agenda, you've got the confidential, you've got the sales presentation as I teach it, you've got the power phrases, and it's all provided in our training and coaching on randallbaxter.com. So you can refresh it anytime you want to. You know, and I've already told you, once you get involved with it, they're going to understand the estate planning process if you do it in reverse by placing the prospect in the hospital in a coma and asking who they would choose to represent them at that time. So that's not the first step. Explaining the trust in reverse is not the first step. Doing the family tree drawing is not the first step. So the question is, Randy, what's the first step? I think I might tell you here in a minute. So if you're really listening to me and you really, really want to enter the estate planning market, or you really want to step up the quality and the quantity of business that you're doing, you have to take what I'm about to show you as the very first step And the only thing you have to get good at is repeating the very first step. Everything else will fall in line. Everything. I've talked about the front end sale, why I call it, the front end sale is superior. Uh, the approach, and it's the most distinctive approach out there because there's so few people using the approach that I've been trying to teach you. So the process I'm about to show you takes 4 weeks, maybe 2 months to establish the proper habits. You cannot make this transition overnight. There's too many bad habits and too many assumptions and too many things that are in the way. But if you get up and do it every day, like I'm going to show you, it won't be long where you're going to be good if you want to be. So I call it the front end sale because it leads to discussions of all financial products and services. If you're engaged in that, you're talking about a prospect. Well, you need to learn to suspect. So here's week one. You don't have to write this down, but if I were you, I'd write it down. You need to identify these 10 suspects. And that's where some of you come in and I'll go, come up with 10 suspects, and you show up with 3. Or you maybe don't have the discipline and the tenacity to make it happen yet. A lot of you do. A lot of you are cooking. I'm cooking. And like I said, I only teach you what I know and only teach you what I do. So, don't do 5. Don't do 20. I don't care if you have 600 clients. Pick the 10 easiest clients that will give you the chance to talk to them about their current estate plans because they want to learn something in which they might not be aware. They're curious. So not 5, not 20, but 10 people you think would benefit from a conversation with Al about yours or credit. I guess that needs to have Y in there with you about their current estate plan. And if that's your only task, that's the only thing you have to do because, a train only has to pull the coal car because all the other cars are going to follow it. So 10 suspects that you think would benefit from a conversation with you about their current plan. Okay, so you have to prepare your approach. I talked to somebody last week. I said, you could just walk up and spit in their face. It would get their attention. Might get you whooped. But anyway, if people see no benefit in talking with you, they will say no or delay. Because people are selfish with their time. And that's okay. I am. You should be too. You probably are. But they need to know that they may learn something in which they were not aware. There is a benefit to the conversation that you're about to have. So, if you can pick 10 people who would benefit from the conversation you want to have, you're going to get 10 people who are willing to listen. So when you do your approach, you approach each person on your list of those 10 people in the way you already communicate with them. So if you're emailers together, then email them. If you're texters, text them. If y'all talk on the phone, talk to them on the phone. If you write by mail, send them a letter. Or just go face to face. Communicate with people in the way that they communicate with you. So, but you have to be able to communicate. And what I'm telling you is superior because it allows you to cover the whole spectrum of financial services without being pushy or product driven until a need is established. I guess so many people call me and say, Oh, I tried my best to do this and this, and I can't. And I look at them, I go, well, why did you use that approach? Or why did you not develop the need first? You know, if you want to be distinctive, if you want to be superior, if you want to be intellectually pleasant, and the conclusion is a no-brainer. I learned all those things from a gentleman called Todd Brown. He is a marketing specialist down in Florida. He's really so good. He got some of my money. But he calls it the sin process. Anything that you do that's superior to what your competition is doing, that is also intellectually acceptable, will become a no-brainer if you make the presentation correctly. Let me draw your family tree. I'm a better advisor if I understand your family dynamics. So, so you know, um, oh my, misspelled distinctive. Some people think I do that on purpose, but I don't, honestly. I just misspell words and don't see it. But anyway, it's distinctive, and that few people lead with this approach. Everybody else is saying, can I talk to you about your life insurance? Can I talk to you about the difference between an IUL and a term policy? How many different Medicare conversations have you had this month? Okay, so few know how to do it correctly. Few know how to make the correct approach. And few understand that people become prospects because they think they would benefit from a conversation with you about their current estate plan. Oh, I came home, I had to buy a dryer. My dryer broke down 48 hours ago. 48 hours without a dryer. Most people don't know that, but a dryer salesman would probably, if he knew that, they'd probably approach me because I'd benefit from a conversation with him. But anyway, uh, the same is true about the estate plan. So, and look at this stopwatch. I thought it was a great example here. This should take no longer than 3 hours of your week one. If we're trying to say gradually I want to become an estate planner, gradually I want to build momentum, in week one, don't do anything except decide who your 10 suspects are. Nothing else. It shouldn't take you more than 3 hours. Then when week two comes around, repeat the behaviors, put 3 hours into a new suspect list. Plus, add your second 10 best suspects to your list and schedule appointments with those who qualify from week one. Now you've spent 3 whole hours last week. You can at least drop them a postcard, send them a text, send them an email, and say, "Hey, I've had you on mind. The reason I have you on mind is because I think you might benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan." I was at the funeral service Sunday for Johnny, and I was at the funeral Monday at a little bit past lunchtime. And I walked up to one of my friends and I said, "Mark, this is happening quite regularly here lately, isn't it?" And he said, "Yeah." And I looked at him and I said, "I hope you and I are here for the next one." And he looked at me and said, "Me too. I hope I'm here too." But I know he's got three grandchildren. No, I'm sorry, four grandchildren and three children and a second wife. Or I could have talked to Bill and Bonnie. They don't have any children. Or I could have talked to Bobby. I did talk to Bobby. Bobby's got a second wife and a child who lives in Winchester, Virginia. And he has a very successful carpet business. And then, you know, uh, then there was Sharon. She's used to, when we were all kids, she was our barber. She was all of our barbers. She cut all of our hair. And we would go in and listen to her talk. and she still can talk. Okay, but she's got a second husband, no children, and the way she dresses, obviously, she's got some money to spend. So I didn't go to the funeral to work. I went there, to be honest with you, to cry a little bit and to be upset a little bit and listen, to the children sing and play and run around there with my great uncles and I mean my great nephews and great nieces, are 2, 3, and 4 years old. Uh, The funeral was better because those little children voices were floating around, and they weren't paying any attention to what was going on. But anyway, repeat the behavior in week one, 10 new suspects, and then contact the suspects from week one and do that in week two. And you know what? You're not going to be as good at it as you're going to be in a week or so. But if you prep it right, hey, I've got you on my mind. The reason for that, I think you might benefit from something I know. I think you might benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan. So and I just went over a list of all who your suspects might be. New parents, grandparents, retirees, soon to be retirees, newly divorced, soon to be divorced, lottery winners, newly diagnosed cancers, stroke victims, dementia people, um, the Brady Bunch, Clampets, Cartwrights, Jessens, Flintstone, Skipper, Gilligan, the Professor, Thurston Howell the third. They all have they all meet those qualifications, and you probably know people just like them: a butcher, his wife, a baker, candlestick maker, union man, entrepreneur, the Fuller Brush man, Barney Fife, the man from Uncle, $6 million man. You know them all. I'll tell you about a $60 million man. I was up at where the Donner Party was up in the Sierra Mountains, and I'll be honest with you. When I was in Sacramento, I got approached about 25 or 30 times, people begging for money, healthy people begging for money. A couple of them were zombies, but I went into a little gas station, and a man walked in, and I looked, and he had two aluminum poles for legs, and some tennis shoes to fit on them. And he came in and bought him a pack of cigarettes, and he had a hat on, said he was a Vietnam veteran. I just watched him, and he went out the door when he had his cigarettes and got on his bicycle, no legs, his bicycle, and took off up a hill, just riding his bicycle. Huh. I don't know what that's got to do with anything, but you just, everybody, everybody will talk to you if you ask. So, there might be same-sex couples, May December romances, little old lady who lived in a shoe, King Midas, St. Francis of Assisi, parents of a disabled child, someone who recently experienced probate, second marriage, estranged parents with a child. You know these people. Your goal of all these people that you know in week two is to schedule 3 go-to first interviews. Man, you're going to have a successful week. If you in week one, if you did 10 suspects, in week two, you did 10 more suspects and made 3 go-to first interviews with those first 10 suspects, and that's just the 30 percentile. Maybe 7 people told you no. It's too bad. The additional time allowance difference from week one, if you add the 5 to 7 additional hours for the 3 go-to first interviews, now you're up to a full 10 hours a week. Horrible. Overworked. So that's why I said, estate plan's like a box of chocolates. You actually never know what you're going to get. Each piece a surprise, each case a fantastic journey. So then week 3 comes along. Repeat week 1. Repeat week 2. If you're really going to be successful at this, you'll display a great capacity for strength, ability to nurture with charisma and inspiration, period. But you should now have 30 suspects. It's a math problem. 30 suspects minus prospect conversions, minus those who say no, thank you. And you should have 3 more interviews. Now you got 9 first interviews under your belt and at least 1 second interview. you know, out of those 9 people, if you qualify them right, 7 of them are going to buy from you, or at least 3 will. But the total hours spent week 3, about 14 hours. Now you're really getting to where you might need to call your union man. Make sure you're not working more than anybody else. But week 4, repeat week 1, repeat week 2, repeat week 3. You know, and here's what you're going to have under your belt: 9 to 10 go-to first interviews in a month. That's not a lot. Those are going to be prospects. You're going to have a completed list of your first 40 suspects. Of those first 9 or 10, 7 or more will keep their appointments, and 3 will buy, and 1 will fund. That's if you're not very good at it. So if you use our retail price structure of 1995, and some of you are selling things for $8.95 and $9.95, and you can, but you know it's worth 1995. But you'll get 3 sales at $1,200 each. That means that during that month you're going to make $3,600 from those 3 sales. If you get one back end sale, one funding sale, the average commission is between $5,000 and $20,000. Total time investment week 4, about 20 hours. So far I've took you from a 3-hour week to a 20-hour week. I hope I haven't overworked you too hard. But all you have to do is, you don't have to do all this stuff. All you have to do is add those 10 new suspects. That's it. Then just follow the process. So if you stick to the process, and if you follow the process, if you follow the agenda, if you follow the presentation, use the Retire Now software, follow the cycle of success, I promise you, you will start to feel momentum build. I got home Friday. I sort of didn't work Saturday and Sunday, except I had to go to a funeral Sunday afternoon. And I came into work Monday, and the momentum started as soon as I walked in the door, because I had sent some emails out before I left and told them when I'd be available. So and don't be fooled. Growth comes in plateaus. I just now showed you how to make $100,000 a year if you're bad at what we do. But all you got to do is wash, rinse, repeat, because it will create good habits. You'll get to where, your 10 people will get easier and easier and easier and easier. And some of the people that told you no will call you in a couple of months and say, okay, let's do this. We need to do this. So it takes time to develop good habits. Don't overdevelop them, then you become a workaholic like me. But you can work at whatever load you want. Um, I try to schedule it by using my 90-day plan, and I adjust it every 30 days. Because I knew that in the month of May, I wasn't going to be able to make many sales unless I got my work done and unless I planned for it. So right before I got on that plane to go to Las Vegas, I sent a whole bunch of mail. I did systematic, massive action, and told people when I was going to be back in the office on Monday, the 20th or whatever. Yeah, I think it was the 20th. And my phone rang off the hook all day, and I had 4 appointments. So listen to me. If you're out there listening to me, please hear what I'm about to say. Don't take it personal. Just listen to what I've got to say. Failure, in most cases, in this business is because of a lack of implementation. that dog wagging his tail looking at that hamburger, he cannot implement the solution. He can't stand up and take the 2 steps he needs to take, or the 1 step. But if you do it, you'll be able to identify what's working. If you follow the process I just showed you, 3 hours, 10 hours, 14 hours, 20 hours, you'll be able to identify what's working and what is not working by looking at your calendar and evaluating your suspect list. Uh, Garbage in, garbage out. If your suspects are weak and poor, your production is going to be weak and poor. But if you see that, if you say, gosh, these 10 suspects really weren't very good suspects at all, that's not working, I need to upgrade my suspect list a little bit, then your income goes up. The only thing left then is personal discipline and tenacity. Folks, you got to want to be good at this. And if you're good at this, the income will come. It's one of the few professions that I think that you don't have to be an engineer, you don't have to be a scientist, you don't have to be a doctor, you don't have to be a lawyer, but you can make the money those people make very easily. So many people call me frustrated about they're not saying, hey, you're frustrated. They're frustrated because they call me. I didn't word that right. But a lot of times people call me, and usually when I talk to them, it's easy for me to decipher the problem. It's usually traceable to a lack of emulation of the process called the cycle of success. I didn't write the cycle of success. I just borrowed it. And if you want to bake the chef's cake, why don't you follow the chef's recipe? If it calls for 2 eggs, don't put in one. If it calls for a pinch of sugar, don't throw in a pinch of pepper. It, you know, if the chef tells you what the ingredients are, go get them. So that's all I got to say today. If you would, start this week off. If you haven't done it yet, before Friday, have 10 suspects. If you don't have 10 suspects, it may be because you don't want them. It may be because you won't admit that you have them. It may be that maybe you ought to take a shower first before you go out and approach people. I don't know. But if you'll just approach them, they're going to tell you, yes, I do need to talk to you, because they're selfishly motivated to get the benefit of whatever it is you have to offer, especially if it's offered for free. Okay, so I can climb down off my soapbox now. I'll stop for some questions if anybody has any questions. Has anybody asked for anything in the chat room, Lisa?
There are no actual questions, but Salvador says joining from Aruba. Thank you. Mike says, please send me a replay as this is absolute gold. And Felicia says, thanks, Randall.
Send a replay of what?
Send a replay of this because it's absolute gold.
Well,
the web.
and you can send the email and ask for it, but we put it on our website, don't we?
Yes, and we'll send an email out after this with it.
Okay.
And it's on both websites.
The roadmap is so easy. So easy. What's the date today? The 21st? By June 30th, you should have in the mill for your July paycheck somewhere between $8,000 and $20,000, but only if you need it or want it. Maybe one day I'll show you my spreadsheet, but I think my paid business is doing this system. So far this month has grossed about $65,000. I think I have just in my business operating account, maybe $55,000, $60,000 in the bank account. And I have about $120,000 worth of accounts receivable. And every bit of it, folks, every bit of it comes from the consistent drumbeat of looking for my 10 people that I need to talk to this week. That's it. And what happens is when a bigger case appears, you get to meet the bigger case's friends because people hang out. Their top 5 friends are probably a lot like who they are. So, so you know, um, if you're talking to a guy that's got 6 zeros at the end of his bank account number, his friends have probably got 5 or 6 zeros too. If you're talking to a guy that's just experienced a loss of a spouse, or he might not have experienced the loss of a spouse, but one of his friends might have lost a spouse recently. And remember now, all the way back to the second slide that I showed you today, um, people want to be led through the conversation. They're selfish. They want it. They want to get it for free. They want to take it from you, and if you offer it, and if you're good at it, they might learn something in which they were not aware, which increases their value of you. And 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 that's what you said you would do anyway, right? Okay. Anybody else want to
Randall,
talk about?
Felicia had a question.
Oh, hi, Felicia.
She said, how much should be an income in California to qualify for estate planning? I'm just curious.
Oh, in income. Um,
Yeah.
okay. Well, don't go by income. Go by um, the fact that they would benefit from the conversation with you and may learn something in which they were not aware. Those it doesn't matter, if they don't have any money, you'll soon realize that you're helping people, but it's not working for you, and you'll start upgrading and people with money, and you'll be able to tell. But uh, sometimes you can just look in their car seat and see what's in the floor of their car seat to tell whether they're a good prospect or not. Uh, whether it's rolled up McDonald's bags or silver bars. But don't measure it by money. Just get out and learn and help people, and you will see that you naturally upgrade your prospecting. I hope that answers your question. But $1 million is nice. What
Randall,
else we
then
got out there?
Greg had a question.
Go ahead.
He said, where do we get the Retirement Now software?
We get the Retire Now software from Mike Bemis. It was written by Mike Stranka. It's proprietary software. I don't require you to do business with them if you do business with me. If you want to try the software, Mike will give it to you. If you'll call me and talk about your gaps and cliffs, I'll help you, and I'll run some illustrations for you. I'll have Jay do it, or Greg do it, or somebody. But the Retire Now software belongs to Simplicity of Minnesota, and folks. They changed my life with that software. I used it. I used it Monday morning to convert $227,000 in a MAGA that was 7 years old, uh, with a 3% surrender charge into a uh, American Equity Income Shield product. And I did it by pulling up and putting in their, showing them what their gaps and cliffs were off that software. That they'd already had the gaps and cliffs conversation. When I put the gaps in, and they realized that mom was in better shape than dad. Dad started getting serious about not wanting to have 3% on his money anymore. He wanted to have a product that grew the income on it at 6% and would never run out. And it's that easy. That easy. Did I answer that question?
Greg has asked, how do you spell the name? So I just wanted to know, is that Mike Bemis's name, Greg?
Yeah. Uh, Greg, if you want to send me an email or send Greg
I can
Davis an
drop.
email, we'll introduce you to Mike Bemis. Uh, Mike likes to be introduced personally. I'll send you a personal invitation, and he'll talk with you and demonstrate for you. But you can also go to my website. Um, what's the name of that show? The how to present the gaps and cliffs. I think it's in chapter 4 of my website, and it's Mike Bemis performing it. So, Greg, if you want to meet Mike Bemis, you just let me know. I'll have you talking to him tomorrow. Good guy. When I first met him, I called him a whippersnapper. I couldn't figure out why somebody as young as he was what they could ever teach me. Um, I've known him for 15 years, and he's one of the best, smartest, wisest uh, people that I know involved in the income planning industry. And he's helped me out a lot, changed my life. Anything
Well,
else?
both Felicia and Gregory said thank you.
Okay, well, good. How about somebody else? Well, um, I I told everybody that worked for me I was going to drive to Lynchburg, Virginia today, and I haven't even left the house yet. So I think I'm going to get up early in the morning, maybe about 4, and grab me a cup of coffee and put some Led Zeppelin on or something like that, and zip on up the road. And I'll be in Lynchburg, Virginia by 11 o'clock, Mike, if you're still on. I am doing a workshop with Mike Adams up in Lynchburg. We're doing 4 workshops, Wednesday and Thursday. Um, I think the cost on it was $3,500. I don't know how many people we've got in there, but um, it doesn't matter because we're going to make that $3,500 back, probably in sales from the first presentation. Then there's 4 presentations that we're going to do with the workshop. And I will tell you that I have been negotiating with another company that is willing to finance the workshops. They're willing to lend you the $3,500. I don't know how many workshops we've done right now, Jay or Greg, everybody's on there. I think we've done 5, maybe 6, or maybe 5, and we've gotten our money back within 10 days every time with by selling estate plans and then going back to properly fund those estate plans. So don't be timid. Um, and when I meet with my guys Tuesday to review the workshops they've done in May, I'm going to find out what our plans were for the people who didn't show, what our plans were for the people who showed and didn't make an appointment, and what our plans for were the people who showed and made an appointment and bought a trust, and when the funding interview is and when the second interview is. I think we're bringing in, I'm going to say $40,000 to $60,000 for each workshop. Now, you don't have to write the script. I've already done it. You don't have to perform it the way I do it. You might have to go in and fix a few misspelled words. I'm not ashamed of my misspelled words because I believe that if I wait till something's perfect, I may never get it done. Any other questions?
Barbara had a question. She
Barbara,
said,
huh?
what is the presentation like that you use?
We can send you a copy of it if you'll send us an email. I think it's uh, wonderful. You know, I wrote it, and I lead people through the thought process that I want them to go through. I spend enough time to get them to realize that I am sincere. I really do want to help, and then I try to entertain them enough to where they know me, like me, trust me enough to show up within 10 days in my office with their checkbook. But Barbara, we can send you a copy of that. Just talk to Lisa or Greg, and Greg will be sure that you get it, or Jay, or Ben, or Albert. They, now, every one of them took my workshop presentation and modified it to fit them, and it's okay to do. I don't mind doing that. I don't mind you doing that. Sometimes they even make it look better than mine. but it's okay. So if you want one, just let us know. Any other questions?
Nothing more in the chat.
Okay. Well, um, I think sometime in the next hour, the man from Lowe's is going to show up and bring me a new dryer. I'm excited about that. I can't wait to throw my clean clothes in the new dryer and listen to it. Anybody want to ask one more question before I go? Next week, I'm going to talk to you how to finance those workshops. If you really want one, I can have you in a workshop and shooting for that 20 to 40 to $50,000 before the end of June in your territory. All right, I guess I'm gonna go. Thanks for being patient with me. I hope you enjoyed last week and the week before with Jeff Mills and the DeedWorks. Those things are on the webpage right now. If you want to go in, if you need to learn how to use DeedWorks, go in and just read the table of contents. You might find something that you want to know. Anything else? All right, I'm out of here. Goodbye. Lisa, thank
Thanks.
you.